Misinformation has always been a thing since the day man gained the ability to speak. Why? This is because there will always be people with the desire to sway a narrative in their own favor. For example, there are two American newspaper publishers reporting rumors as though they were facts leading the U.S. into the Spanish-American War in 1898. In school, we've heard of or have learned about the misinformation that was used during World War II with the use of Nazi propaganda. These two instances of international misinformation in history reflect greatly on the state of misinformation on the internet as we know it today. Both used mass media and their influence to garner positive sentiment on their viewpoints in an effort to sway the population. This was usually due to the respective government's influence and pressure on said newspapers to promote the government ideals. Now, the internet is the most convenient source to obtain information. Therefore, it tends to be abused the most when it comes to the spread of misinformation. Why? This is because of the ease of use when it comes to the internet, as well as the lack of accountability. We are largely anonymous online when we post something, and it's easy to fake who you are when you say things both positively and negatively. In the past, it was hard to hide your true identity when publishing things due to the chain of people needed to get that information spread in the first place. The sources they needed usually had to be credited to an individual. Even then, people in the early days of the newspaper didn't trust it. Nowadays, people are quick to trust information they see online without even knowing the individual or their values. Which leads me to my topic of misinformation on the internet and how it affects and shapes society as a whole. The internet has changed the way we interact with media. When we want to get some news or get some information on something, we pull out our digital device, such as our cell phone, tablet, or laptop, to get that information. According to Pew Research Center's survey conducted in September of last year, 2023, nearly 6 in 10, or 58% of Americans, say they prefer to get their news on a digital device, whereas 27% of Americans prefer television as a source to obtain news. Even fewer Americans prefer radio or print. Among digital platforms, a quarter of U.S. adults prefer to get their news through news websites or apps. 15% prefer search engines such as Google Search or Bing. 12% prefer social media, and 6% prefer podcasts. Fake news and deep fakes are just two forms of misinformation, and there are many ways that it is presented on the daily. Due to the recent advances in AI, patients and even the public are increasingly exposed to misleading medical information. Generative AI models, including large language models such as ChatGPT, can create and modify text, images, audios, and even video information based on training data. If you were to type a specific request or prompt, such as, say, create a news article that's intended to misinform and scare right or left-wing affiliated people regarding the current state of Russian and U.S. military tensions, it'll actually generate with alarming accuracy and creativity regarding how it chooses to misinform, how it imitates the verbiage and sentence structure of the most popular news outlets in the U.S. The internet also consists of conspiracy theorists that spread theories which can misinform people and society as a whole. According to a peer-reviewed article on ProQuest, popular theory has linked 5G towers to COVID-19, which ultimately led to misinformation for a lot of people in society. The burning of the 5G towers in the UK, and also endangering the lives of the 5G tower employees. Misinformation such as vaccinations causing autism has undermined decision-making about childhood vaccinations. Misinformation like these theories can and has negatively impacted the well-being of society. According to Alexandria Stone from the Department of Psychology and Neuroscience, much research shows that people do not like it when the world appears random or chaotic. With that in mind, forms of misinformation within the internet, such as conspiracy theories, reduce the seeming randomness of events like the COVID-19 pandemic. We as human beings may be motivated to believe in misinformation that fosters a feeling of hopefulness, especially during hard times. Which leads me to my conclusion. All that I've discussed today, beginning with the historical record evidence to the scientific data evidence, and finally the expert testimony, are reasons why the spread of misinformation on the internet has a negative impact on human society and learning. Thank you for listening.